The air in Savannah was thick with heat, the kind that clung to skin like a second layer. It was the kind of heat that suffocated, that made the walls of tiny apartments feel like prison cells. Beverly Gaines wiped her brow as she stepped off the bus, a single cloth bag slung over her shoulder. It held all she had left: 3 dresses, a pair of scuffed shoes, and a folded letter from the dry cleaner's shop, stamped with a single word: terminated. She had worked there for 10 years. 10 years of scrubbing, pressing, folding. 10 years of routine. 10 years erased in a moment. Now she was here, at Whitlow Estate. The house loomed ahead, too perfect to be real. A mansion carved from old money, wrapped in ivory columns and dark secrets. The front gate was locked, but the service entrance was open. Always open, for those who entered quietly and never left a mark. Beverly stepped inside. The scent of polished wood and aged money filled the air. The floors gleamed. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across the hall. A place of power. A place where people like her were meant to serve, in silence. A woman in a crisp uniform approached. Mrs. Halloway, the housekeeper. Thin, severe, with a mouth that never hinted at a smile. "You're late," she said, checking her watch. Beverly bowed her head. "The bus." "Excuses won't serve you here," Mrs. Halloway interrupted. "You work fast. You stay invisible. You don't ask questions. Understood?" Beverly nodded. "Good." Mrs. Halloway handed her a folded uniform. "Your duties are simple. Clean the east wing. Dust, polish, scrub. You see him, you lower your eyes. You do not speak to Mr. Whitlow unless spoken to." Beverly had heard of Charles Whitlow. The name carried weight in Savannah: wealth, influence, cruelty. A man who saw people as tools. Replaceable. Disposable. And now she worked for him. Days bled into nights. Beverly moved like a ghost through the mansion, scrubbing floors that gleamed like mirrors, dusting furniture worth more than her life. She never saw Whitlow. Not really. Only glimpses, a shadow in the hallway, a voice echoing through marble corridors. But at night, the house was different. Whitlow hosted dinners. Lavish affairs where women dripped in diamonds and men sipped brandy thick as syrup. The halls filled with laughter, low and knowing. But when the guests left, silence swallowed the mansion whole. That's when she heard it. The piano. It was always past midnight, soft notes curling through the halls. Not a song, but a whisper. A hesitation. Someone playing, stopping, playing again. As if testing the sound. Beverly lay awake, listening. And one night, she followed it. Barefoot, she crept through the dark. The music grew louder, clearer. It came from the grand hall. The door was ajar. Inside, moonlight painted silver streaks across the floor. And there, in the center, stood the grand piano. She stepped closer. The bench was empty, the lid open, but the room was silent. No one was there. A chill crept up her spine. Had she imagined it? Her fingers brushed the keys. A single note rang out, trembling in the silence. It had been years since she played, since she let herself touch music. A voice cut through the dark. "Do you belong here?" Beverly froze. A shadow emerged from the corner. Tall, sharp-eyed. Charles Whitlow. She had never seen him this close. His suit was crisp, his hair graying at the temples. His gaze pinned her in place. "Well," he pressed. Beverly swallowed. I was just. You were just touching what isn't yours." His voice was cold. She lowered her hands, stepping back. Whitlow studied her, his eyes flicking to the piano, then back to her. Then to her horror, he smiled. But there was no warmth in it. "I wonder," he mused, "can you actually play?" Beverly didn't answer. Whitlow chuckled. "Play something. Just a note. Entertain me." She shook her head. "I should get back to work. I insist." It wasn't a request. Slowly she sat. Her fingers trembled over the keys. A single breath. Then muscle memory took over. A song from childhood. A melody from another life. The sound filled the room, soft at first, then rich, then powerful. She forgot where she was. Forgot who was watching. When she stopped, the silence was unbearable. Whitlow stared at her. His smile had vanished. "Interesting," he murmured. Then, he turned on his heel and walked away. Beverly released a breath. She had no idea what had just happened. But she knew one thing. It wasn't over. The next morning, Mrs. Halloway's voice was tight. "Mr. Whitlow has requested you attend his garden party this Saturday." Beverly frowned. "Me? The invitation isn't a courtesy," Mrs. Halloway said. "You will be there, and you will play." Cold dread pooled in Beverly's stomach. "It's not a request, is it?" she whispered. Mrs. Halloway gave her a look. It never is. Saturday came too fast. Beverly stood behind the estate, staring at the gardens. A sea of white linen and champagne glasses. The grand piano sat in the center, polished to perfection. Waiting. Whitlow caught her eye from across the lawn. His smirk was razor sharp. A servant nudged her forward. "It's time." She moved, legs stiff. The crowd barely noticed her. To them, she was just the help. She sat at the piano, hands poised, heart hammering. The whispers started. "She looks nervous. Why is Whitlow making her play? This should be amusing." Whitlow leaned in, voice low. "Play, Beverly." Her name. She had never told him her name. Her breath hitched. How did he know? She pressed the keys. The melody started slow, deliberate. But something was wrong. The piano. It was off. She hit a note. A hollow clang echoed. The guests murmured. Her fingers danced across the keys, but the sound was broken, mismatched. She lifted the lid. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Whitlow's smirk widened. He had done this. He had set her up. Laughter erupted. Beverly's chest tightened. Then, a scream. High, piercing. A woman in white stumbled forward, pointing at something in the piano. Inside the piano. Beverly followed her gaze. Her stomach dropped. A hand. Pale. Still. Reaching through the wires. A human hand. The party dissolved into chaos. Beverly shot to her feet, heart racing. "Whitlow?" She turned to him. His smirk was gone. For the first time, Charles Whitlow looked afraid. And in that moment, Beverly realized something chilling. This wasn't his doing. He hadn't planned this. Someone else had. And whoever they were still in the house. The garden was in chaos. Screams cut through the humid air. Guests shoved past each other, spilling champagne, knocking over chairs. The woman who had first screamed collapsed onto the grass, sobbing. Beverly stood frozen, her hands trembling at her sides. The hand inside the piano was real. Pale fingers curled stiffly, unmoving. Lifeless. Someone was inside the piano. A body. Beverly's breath hitched. Her pulse pounded in her ears. The party blurred around her. Whitlow moved first. "Shut this down," he barked at the staff. "Now." Mrs. Halloway rushed forward, already herding guests toward the exits, her face expressionless. Servants scrambled to block the scene from view, but the damage was done. Beverly backed away from the piano. Every nerve in her body screamed at her to run, but she couldn't move. Then Whitlow turned to her. His eyes locked onto hers. Not with anger, not with amusement, with something else, something close to fear. "You," he said quietly. "Inside. Now." The doors slammed shut behind them. Beverly stood in Whitlow's private study, her chest rising and falling too fast. Whitlow paced, his movements tight, controlled. "Who did you tell?" Beverly blinked. "What?" His gaze snapped to her. "The piano. The body. Who did you tell?" Her stomach turned. "No one. I didn't know." Silence. Whitlow studied her, fingers tapping against the desk. Then he exhaled sharply and ran a hand through his graying hair. This wasn't supposed to happen. Beverly swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed a decanter, poured himself a drink, and downed it in one gulp. "You played beautifully," he murmured, almost to himself. "Even with a corpse at your feet." Beverly shuddered. A knock. Mrs. Halloway stepped inside, closing the door behind her. Her face was unreadable. "The police are outside." Whitlow's jaw tightened. Beverly felt her knees go weak. The police. A body in the piano. And she had been the one sitting there when they found it. The police wasted no time. Officers swarmed the estate, questioning guests, securing the crime scene. The garden, once pristine, was now cordoned off with yellow tape. Beverly sat in the parlor, arms wrapped around herself. She had given her statement. Over and over. She didn't know anything. She didn't see anything. She didn't do anything. But something was wrong. The officers kept whispering, stealing glances at Whitlow, at the house. Then, Detective James stepped forward, a tall man with tired eyes and a permanent frown. He looked at Whitlow, then at Beverly. "You might want to sit down for this," he said. Whitlow didn't move. The detective sighed. "The body and the piano, we can't ID them." Silence. Beverly's breath caught. "What do you mean?" Whitlow asked. James folded his arms. "No fingerprints in the system. No missing persons matching their description. No ID. No distinguishing features." He hesitated, almost like they never existed. A chill crept down Beverly's spine. Whitlow's face darkened. "That's impossible." James shrugged. See for yourself." He handed over a photograph. Whitlow glanced at it, then stiffened. Beverly leaned forward. The body was that of a man. Mid-30s. Short hair. Dressed in a suit. His face was turned slightly, frozen in an expression of something close to shock. And yet, Beverly had never seen him before. Whitlow, on the other hand, his fingers trembled as he handed the photo back. "I don't know him," he said flatly. A lie. Beverly saw it in his face. And the detective did too. The police didn't arrest anyone. Not yet. They had no cause. No leads. But they weren't leaving either. Whitlow disappeared into his study after the interrogation. Mrs. Holloway spoke to no one. The other staff whispered in corners. Beverly locked herself in her room. Sleep didn't come. Instead, she lay staring at the ceiling. The image of the hand in the piano burned into her mind. And Whitlow's reaction. He knew something. He was hiding something. A creak outside her door. Beverly sat up, heart hammering. Another creak. Then, a slip of paper slid under the door. Her breath caught. Slowly, she crawled forward, picked it up. A single word was scrawled on it. "Run." Her blood ran cold. A shadow moved past the door. Someone was watching her. Someone who knew something. She yanked the door open. The hall was empty, but at the far end, a figure disappeared around the corner. Beverly's pulse pounded. She needed answers, and she knew exactly where to look. The mansion was silent. Beverly moved through the halls, sticking to the shadows. Whitlow's study was locked, but the servants' quarters had keys to every room. She had seen where Mrs. Holloway kept them. Minutes later, she held the key in her hand. One deep breath. She turned the lock. The door creaked open. The study was cold. Dark. She stepped inside. Stacks of papers. Ledgers. A glass of unfinished whiskey. And then the safe. Her hands trembled as she pulled open drawers, searching. A flash of metal. A key. She grabbed it. The safe was old, but the key fit. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Inside, there were documents. Photos. A single manila folder. She opened it. Her breath stopped. A name. A photo. The dead man. And beneath it, in Whitlow's careful handwriting, Elijah Gaines. The last name hit her like a punch. Gaines. Her last name. Her hands shook. She stared at the photo, at the face of the dead man. And for the first time, something shifted in her memory. Something long buried. A flicker of recognition. A forgotten voice. A laugh. A promise. She knew him. Somewhere, somehow. She knew Elijah Gaines. A floorboard creaked behind her. Beverly froze. The room wasn't empty. Slowly, she turned. A shadow loomed in the doorway. Tall. Still. Watching. Beverly's throat tightened. The figure stepped forward, the dim light catching their face. Whitlow. His expression was unreadable. But his eyes. Cold. Calculating. "You shouldn't have done that," he murmured. A sharp pain at the back of her head. The room tilted. Darkness swallowed her whole. Darkness. Beverly floated in it, weightless, thoughtless. A void. Then pain. A sharp, splitting ache at the back of her skull. Her eyes flickered open. The world was sideways. Blurred. A wooden floor beneath her cheek. The scent of dust, old books, and something metallic, blood. Her blood. Memories slammed back. The safe. The name. Elijah Gaines. Then Whitlow. His voice. That final, damning sentence before everything went black. "You shouldn't have done that." Beverly's pulse roared in her ears. She tried to move. Her wrists burned. Tied. A chair creaked nearby. "Awake, are we?" Whitlow. His voice was calm. Collected. Beverly forced herself to focus. The room, his study. But something was different. The air was thicker. Shadows stretched longer. And then she saw it. The piano. Moved from the garden. Cleaned. Polished. But the memory of the hand inside it wouldn't leave her. Whitlow leaned forward, elbows on his knees. He looked at her like a man considering his next move on a chessboard. "I hoped you wouldn't dig," he said. "But you always had to be curious." Beverly swallowed against the dry knot in her throat. "You knew him," she said hoarsely. "Elijah Gaines." Whitlow's expression didn't change. "So did you?" The words landed like a slap. Her breath caught. "No." She shook her head. "I." Memories clawed at the edges of her mind. A name. A face. A voice she should have known. "Think," Whitlow murmured. "Dig deeper." Her pulse pounded. The sound of a piano. Laughter. A boy. A brother. Beverly's breath hitched. No, it wasn't possible. She had no family, no siblings, just herself. Just a buried memory split open. A little girl at a piano, her fingers struggling to keep up. A boy beside her laughing, playing a perfect tune. Try again, Bev. You'll get it. She had shoved it away. Forgotten. Elijah, her brother. A strangled sob caught in her throat. Whitlow watched, unreadable. Why? Her voice cracked. Why was he here? Why? Whitlow sighed, stood, poured himself a drink. He came back for you, he said simply. The room tilted. Elijah had been looking for her, and now he was dead. Her breath came in shallow gasps. You killed him. Whitlow didn't react. Then slowly he shook his head. No, Beverly, you did. The world stopped. She stared at him, unable to breathe. Whitlow took a slow sip of whiskey. You don't remember, do you? Her mind rebelled. No, she whispered, but something cracked inside her. A forgotten night. 1 week ago. Rain. A dark road. Headlights flashing. A man's voice calling her name. Elijah's voice. You don't understand, Beverly. You're in danger. A sharp impact. Blood on her hands. She gasped, chest tightening. Whitlow stepped closer, watching her crumble. You hit him, he said. Out there on the road. You left him there, dying. Beverly's head pounded. No, it's the truth. Her mind reeled. Elijah. She had killed Elijah? But how, why? Whitlow crouched beside her. You were drunk, he said softly. I covered for you. Brought him here. Hid the body. To protect you. A cold, suffocating terror wrapped around her. This wasn't real. She couldn't. But the memory wouldn't let go. The road. The rain. The body on the pavement. Her fault. Tears burned her eyes. You're lying, she whispered. Whitlow tilted his head. Am I? Silence stretched between them. Beverly's heart raced. Her hands, bound behind her, twisted against the rope. Whitlow sighed as if exhausted. It's a shame, really. You were remarkable tonight. Her pulse pounded. You're going to kill me, she said. Whitlow took another sip of whiskey. Only if you make it difficult. He moved toward the fireplace. The fire crackled, shadows dancing along the walls. Beverly forced herself to breathe. Think. Elijah had come back for her. Why? Her fingers brushed something sharp. A nail. She swallowed, kept her voice calm. If you were protecting me, she said, why go through all this? Why humiliate me? Why? Whitlow smirked. I had to be sure, he said. Had to know if you remembered. If you would crack. A slow sip. You didn't. Until now. Beverly's fingers worked the nail against the rope. She kept him talking. Why did Elijah come back? She asked. Whitlow's expression flickered. Then quietly, he wanted to expose me. Her blood ran cold. Whitlow turned the glass in his hand. Elijah knew things. Dangerous things. About me. About my business. And he knew where to find you. The rope loosened. Beverly steadied her breath. Whitlow smiled. But don't worry. I fixed it. Just like I'll fix this. He moved toward her. Beverly struck. The rope snapped. She lunged, driving the nail deep into his arm. Whitlow shouted. Beverly ran. Footsteps pounded behind her. The mansion blurred. She crashed through the halls, lungs burning. Whitlow was right behind her. A door, the piano room. She dove inside, locked the door. Whitlow's fist slammed against it. You can't run, Beverly. She scanned the room. The grand piano. The place it all started. Her gaze landed on the fireplace poker. She grabbed it. Whitlow kicked the door open. His face was wild, furious. You ungrateful. Beverly swung. The poker connected with his head. A sickening crack. Whitlow stumbled. Fell. Silence. Her breath came in gasps. Then flashing lights. Sirens. The police. Beverly collapsed. It was over. Months passed. The truth unraveled. Whitlow's empire crumbled. Fraud. Corruption. Murder. Elijah had been right. He had come to warn her. To save her. And she had killed him. The guilt never left. But she didn't run from it. She honored him. The way she was meant to. She opened a small music school. Named it after him. And every night, before closing, she played his favorite melody. Soft. Haunting. Beautiful. A silent chord that would never fade.